Hello everyone. We will come back with the second session of circles, wherein we will be learning about the general equation of a circle. So let us begin. We now have the second degree equation x squared plus y squared plus 2gx plus 2fy plus c is equal to 0 to be representing a circle with the following properties. First of all, let us prove here why this second degree equation has to represent a circle. Though the proof is not included for your examination point of view, we shall be considering why the equation has to represent a circle basically. So consider x squared plus y squared plus 2gx plus 2fy plus c equal to 0 and number it as equation number 1. Now for this particular equation, I shall be adding the expression g squared plus f squared. When I say we are using a certain operation to an equation, the same has to be taken to both the LHS and the RHS. Thereby we are getting x squared plus y squared plus 2gx plus 2fy plus c. Mind here that we are adding g squared plus f squared to both LHS and RHS. In the RHS there was 0. 0 doesn't add to the value. So you have g squared plus f squared as it is. Here in the LHS, let us try to rearrange the terms. I shall consider the underlined terms here, that is x squared, 2gx and g squared as one set of expression, and the circled terms, that is y squared plus 2fy plus f squared as the second set of expression, and plus c here from the LHS will now be transposed to the RHS. By doing so, we get the equation now rewritten as x squared plus 2gx plus g squared plus y squared plus 2fy plus f squared, which is now equal to g squared plus f squared minus c. The same equation we have rewritten here. The first three terms here in the LHS is in the form a squared plus 2ab plus b squared, and thus it is expressed as x plus g the whole squared in its condensed form. Likewise, y squared plus 2fy plus f squared is rewritten as y plus f the whole squared, which is equal to g squared plus f squared minus c under root the whole squared. Mind here, there is again an operation, the same value, that is g squared plus f squared minus c. First we have called root to the same and again we have squared it subsequently. Thereby only the radicand remains. Okay, it doesn't alter the equation anymore. Now x plus g the whole squared again is rewritten as x minus of minus g the whole squared. Y plus f is rewritten as y minus of minus f the whole squared, which now is equal to root of g squared plus f squared minus c the whole squared. Now what can we say about this particular equation? The reduced equation is in the form x minus h the whole squared plus y minus k the whole squared, which is equal to r squared. What is this x minus h plus y minus k the whole squared equal to r squared representing? This equation has to represent a circle with center called h comma k and radius as equal to r units. This we have seen in the previous session, isn't it? So now when I compare the given two equations, the obtained two equations, I have got h is equal to minus g and we have the parameter k is equal to minus f and r squared is equal to root of g squared plus f squared minus c the whole squared. You are considering both the RHs here. R squared is equal to root g squared plus f squared minus c the whole squared would imply to us that r is equal to square root of g squared plus f squared minus c. And h comma k, when you pair them as coordinates, it is giving us the center of the circle as equal to minus g comma minus f. And here clearly The reduced equation, whatever we have taken for comparison with the standard equation of the circle, is nothing but from the original equation. This original equation is what is reduced to the previous form, and thereby the given second degree equation in terms of the two variables x and y will always be representing a circle with the coordinates of the center as minus g comma minus f, and the radius which is supposed to be equal to square root of g squared plus f squared minus c. This ends the proof of this theorem. As I previously said, this is to be not included for your examination point of view, but you need to understand why basically this equation has to represent a circle. So we have substantiated that with a mathematical proof. Now we shall proceed ahead with important properties of the same circle. What are all the properties related to the same equation? Now for our easy and quick reference, let me number the given equation as equation number 1. So we have certain properties of the above equation. Now what is the observance that I can have about this equation? That is the general second degree equation in terms of x and y. As you can see, this particular equation contains two variables. Which are the two variables? X and y. If x and y come as variables, then what are these three alphabets here to be considered as? That is, what are these values called g, f and c? G, f and c will be treated to be parameters. Okay, so you have the two variables called x and y. For various values of g, f and c, circles will be different with coordinates different, and also the radii will be different for them. So now we have already considered the center of the circle. Let us use the same proof. What is the center of circle 1? Center of circle 1, we obtained it as minus g comma minus f. The second property is that radius of circle 1. What is the radius of the circle 1 obtained? We obtained it as equal to square root of g squared plus f squared minus c. Let us consider the third one. Third one will be related to the three parameters called g, f and c. Now here in this general second degree equation, let me make this parameter g as equal to 0. If I put the value for g is equal to 0, equation 1 will then reduce to the form x squared plus y squared. Since g becomes 0, there is no term containing x. You will only have x squared plus y squared plus 2fy plus c is equal to 0. Only 4 terms in the non-zero part of the equation 1. Now when g is equal to 0, we observe that the center coordinates, what did we initially obtain? The center of the circle 1 as minus g comma minus f. So if I make the value called g is equal to 0, parameter g is equal to 0, center will come as 0 comma minus f. And whenever the x coordinate of a point is equal to 0, then it is a point which has to lie on, this point has to lie on y-axis, isn't it? So here I have x-axis, y-axis, origin. I consider, say, the point 0, 2. If I have to plot that particular point called 0, 2 on the graph sheet, then it has to, since it is having its x coordinate 0, y coordinate as equal to positive 2, I will consider that as a point to be lying on the positive y-axis. If I change that y coordinate to be negative, it comes as a point which is to lie on the negative y-axis, isn't it? So this is the commonality here. Whenever we have the x coordinate is equal to 0, that has to be a point which is lying on the y-axis. And so is the inference here. If you are having g is equal to 0, if g is equal to 0, then we have center of circle 1, center of the given circle which we have named as 1, equation 1 has to lie on y-axis, and this gives us the condition for the same. We have the second property related to the parameters. Firstly, we have called g equal to 0 Now I shall make the parameter f is equal to 0. What happens when f is equal to 0? Again, let us analyze the situation. When f is made 0, equation 1 becomes x squared plus y squared plus 2gx plus c is equal to 0. Term containing y will not be there in the equation of the circle. Now what happens to the center coordinates of this? What is the center earlier taken to be? Minus g comma minus f as the formula. And here when we make f equal to 0, we get the center coordinates as minus g comma 0. And where would this point minus g comma 0 lie? Again, get back to the Cartesian coordinate system, roughly considering here the x-axis and the y-axis. Suppose I have a point called 2 comma 0. Suppose I have a point called 2 comma 0. Then where is this point 2 comma 0 lying on? 2 comma 0 has to be a point which has to lie on the x-axis, isn't it? So here is the point 2 comma 0. Where would the point minus 2 comma 0 lie? It has to lie on the negative x-axis. This is the negative x-axis. To generalize, whenever we have the y coordinate of a certain point is equal to 0, then it should be a point which has to lie on the x-axis. And so is the inference that we have here. Whenever f is equal to 0, then center of circle 1 must lie on, it has to lie on x-axis. Now the fifth condition, wherein we consider c equal to 0.